Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
people who don't reply until days later. Why? It's usually because I read the message while I'm doing something that I can't reply in that moment. And then I literally just forget. Ah yes, the infamous, "I'll respond later," followed by a swift entrance into the abyss of forgetfulness. I have a special corner in my mind called, unhandled and forgotten. Ironically, it's because I often try to be thoughtful in my responses. Sometimes I will read a message and I won't have the will or time to give it the thought or depth that it requires, so I'll put it off to when I can really think about it. Oftentimes it slips my mind because my working memory is kind of trash. Yeah, this resonated with me. I've often felt that I don't have presence to engage in this conversation right now. It's a relatively, very, new phenomenon that basically anyone in your life gets access to you at all times. It was only 20 years ago that if you left the house for the day you were actually gone. You'd return messages when you came back hours or even days later. Basically, I prefer this sometimes. I'm on this train. It's actually a recent devolution for me. I recently went to Egypt for 2 weeks. While I was there, I literally had no internet. Taking those 2 weeks really made me realize how much better I felt just reply when I could rather than instantly. I also realized this with some people I work with. They'd text me during non-working hours about work. I'd just reply during working times. So text me at 6 p.m. on a Friday, I'd reply at 9 a.m. Monday. Friends text me during work, I'll text back after work. Work texts me when I'm not working, I'll text back when I'm on the clock. Bingo. This shit ain't human. I have 2, maybe 3, people I'm good with responding to tilde immediately. And even with them sometimes I just need to be unavailable for the sake of being unavailable. We're not built to be always on like this. If you're outside of my priority circle, then I'm sorry. But I'll get back to you when I get back to you. Some days I don't feel like talking to people. Definitely. Don't get me wrong. I love cell phones for a lot of reasons. Safety alone make them pretty fantastic. Like with getting lost or needing help if something goes wrong. At the same time, I'm tired of living in a world where I am expected to be reachable at any time. And if I'm not, people can get upset or feel offended. I promise that's not my intent. I'll get back to you. But I also sometimes just want to be doing my thing without distractions or obligations. The world before cell phones had a different pace that I kind of miss. There wasn't this expectation of immediacy in communication which nowadays creates anxiety. There's something to be said about how technology and our desire for instant gratification have amplified our anxiety as people. Sometimes it's nice to unplug. Just because technology has gotten to the point where you can reach someone instantly does not mean that person has a responsibility to instantly respond. Edit. Because I don't want to. I like to say, I have a phone for my convenience, not yours. Quote. Sometimes I just truly don't know what to reply to you. Especially if it's just the word, hi. Responding just feels like it could be a Pandora's box that I don't know if I want to open. Oof. I had a friend like that I don't really keep in touch with. She started every chat with, hi, then a tad later, hi. Lol. The comments on this one should be empty until a couple of days from now. The thread is 2 hours old and has 1,200 comments. Clearly not the target audience. Use its anonymous replies. I reply to them in my brain and forget to reply them in real life. Executive dysfunction. To add to this as someone that experiences executive dysfunction, I'm ADHD pie. It takes all my energy to focus on my desk job every day at work. Trying to context switch and respond to texts during the day is overwhelming and makes getting work done really hard too. Then when I finally feel I have the brain space to check my messages, I have 30 notifications. 5 are texts from automated robots that I wish I could block. 3 might be important texts. 5 are Snapchats from my close group of friends. 5 are Instagram messages that some close friends thought were funny. 3 are notifications that my Amazon packages have shipped. A couple are banking alerts for a transaction over a certain size. And the rest are notifications I could have sworn I cleared and they came back somehow. And yes, I have gone through every app and turned off notifications that I don't use. My wife helps me do this regularly. Modern smartphones are just an overwhelming thing sometimes. It's not always one text that's hard to respond to in a vacuum. It's that my phone is blowing up and it's so much effort to even get started catching up on all of that. I'm an introvert and it actually takes a lot of energy for me to respond to people. I much prefer talking in person to someone, but for some reason messaging drains me. It's nothing against the person I haven't responded to, and I usually tell my friends it's the way I am and they understand. So unless it's urgent, it could take me a couple of days to respond until I have the energy. For me, as an introvert and someone with social anxiety, It drains my battery cause I try to put in care to make sure something I say in text won't come off the wrong way, since I can't convey tone. And as someone who uses a lot of sarcasm, hyperbole in their speech, I can't use that same thing in text, which makes responding through it harder. But in person those aren't problems, so it makes responding easier and less draining. IDK, it's like I just can't. It feels overwhelming. So instead, I like to consistently go through a cycle of forgetting to respond and then chastising myself for not replying. So I decide I'll do it later. But then I forget. It's just on and on and on until I finally do, and it's always, hey, sorry for just responding. Fill in blank here. Peace. Thanks for the reminder. I just texted my friend who texted me back on Tuesday. This was the push I needed.